Andrew, do you know who Chase Young is?
Yeah, of course.
No. My point is, I don't either.
Before I said that Cade Cunningham would never be an All-Star, and I just wanted to double down on that. I just.
We're back
What's going
with
on
another.
with Mike's video?
I know.
What up, Jam Packed? Let's talk some March Madness, shall we? Let's go. All right, so looks like it's me, myself, and I. What's going on, Jam Pack? I'm MK. I'm your host. Pretty sure Uncle Drewski's sleeping. Pretty sure TeslaMase is driving home. Pretty sure Jack is doing some family stuff. And I don't know. I don't know who else is gonna jump on. Plenty of stuff going on today or this last week with March Madness. For those that actually have jumped in on our bracket, it's been revealing that I'm doing terrible in our bracket. It's not even close. I think I'm pretty sure I am 12th out of the 25 brackets that have been filled out in our group. This is really disappointing. It's even more disappointing that I'm getting beat by my own daughter. This is wild. I don't know how this happens. Lots of upsets going on. Plenty to talk about, and let's get to it. March Madness has gone now into the Sweet 16, and right off the bat, all the number one seeds made it past the first round, which is great. Absolutely great. There was a little bit of a scare with Florida almost getting beat by UConn. They pulled out a little squeaker, winning 77-75 there in that second round, that round of 32. That was a close call. Colorado State, dude, almost pulled off the upset. The number 12 seed Colorado State ended up, mind you, beating number 5 Memphis 78-70 in the first round, and almost pulls out a double upset in the second round. Lost to Maryland by 1 point. I can only imagine what they would, how that campus would feel had they had beaten the number 5 and number 4 seed. Still an amazing portion for them. And Uncle Drewski, what's going on, Uncle Drewski? How you doing tonight?
What's up, man?
Not much.
Getting settled in.
Yes. I'm just going off of the quick upsets so far here in the bracket. Ole Miss pulled off a huge upset, beating Iowa State 91-78, and he just completely handed it to them. But to be honest with you, within the first couple of rounds, dude, if Colorado State had beaten Maryland, because they lost by 1 point, they lost 72-71. If they would have beaten that Maryland team, I guarantee you that would have been all over ESPN.
Right.
Because they beat the number 5 Memphis in round 1 and then beat close to beating the number 4 Maryland in round 2. Like, come on. I mean, now they would have had a really tough matchup trying to beat Florida in
Right.
the Sweet 16, but
Who only won by 2. I mean, that was a close one too.
right. So far, the Cinderella story continues for Arkansas. I don't necessarily would consider them I know they're a 10 seed, but I don't even necessarily consider them a Cinderella team, considering that they're being coached by Calipari.
Right.
I mean, great coach, right? Like, he's by far going to be in the college coaches basketball Hall of Fame. I don't doubt that one bit. But they continue their story. They made it to the Sweet 16, defeating Rick Pitino's St. John's team 75-66. Outside of that, everybody is pretty much top 4 seed, if I remember correctly. Oh no, I lied. BYU made it to the Sweet 16, beating with number 3 Wisconsin. Now there is some. Did you hear about the? I don't even want to say controversy, but Wisconsin is trying to appeal the win. Did you hear about that?
No.
So
that's strange because I thought they were getting most of the ref calls at the end of the game there. So
it's not even the game. It's not even the calls during the game. So Wisconsin is saying they put an appeal in saying that the dunk that happened after the game, the celebratory dunk after the buzzer went off, should have been counted as a technical, giving them 2 free throws in the ball, which would have tied the game.
I mean, the buzzer already sounded.
Right, but the buzzer had already sounded. Now, they are correct in assuming that the dunk in any other part of the game after the whistle was blown, yes, would have been a technical foul. So if the whistle's blown, you're supposed to give the ref the ball. If they had gone through and continued and went and dunked the ball, it would have been a technical foul. 2 free throws in the ball.
Right.
But there's an actual appeal going on about it, and I'm like, really?
That's just
you're going through with it, huh? I don't.
That's just okay. But like, as a program, as a coach, as a player, that just seems so.
I'm gonna have to change my camera. My camera's wigging out.
Yeah, I saw that.
Because
I just think that just seems so petty, honestly. At the end of a game like that, think about it.
The game's over. Welcome. Yeah, exactly. The game's over.
The game's over already, and a guy's just celebrating a dunk. It was I actually enjoyed seeing. I was like, oh dang, this guy got up. Sweet, man. Good for him. He can dunk. Like
right.
He was excited. That's just petty, and honestly, like. I think that I don't know. That's embarrassing, Wisconsin. Don't even pull that.
Yeah, the word is they're trying to appeal it, and there has never been a ruling or an appeal for something that happened after the game clock is expired.
Right.
So, I mean, good luck with that.
And here's the thing: it could have been. It was so close to the game clock expiring, it could have been viewed as like an attempt, a legitimate attempt on the basket. It makes no sense. That's just petty.
What's going on, Tesla? How you doing?
Good. Yeah. I know you're talking about the BYU Maryland game or Wisconsin game. Listen, the only reason we're talking about this is because I am renaming this March Madness to just March because there is no other madness going on. Like, I mean, let's just call it what it is. Like, there's no Cinderella team. There's no, double.
Dude, Colorado State was so close to being that Cinderella team.
And that was literally the best game, right? I mean, you got, and was that a travel, right? That's what's being talked about. Is that kid's a freshman? So I have a question. I'm kind of, I hope Jack's watching or can at least tune in. Everything all right?
Yep.
So real quick, I hope Jack's on. Do you guys think that the reason that there is no March Madness is because the NIL is taking the good players from the small schools and putting them on their teams? So the transfer portal is
They might have
now,
a valid point with that.
because the 3 guys from, was it Florida Gulf Coast or Florida Atlantic from a couple years ago?
Right.
3 guys who were in this run that this FAU team went all the way to the Elite Eight are in this tournament. And as a matter of fact, they're not only in this tournament, they are on 3 different teams, and all 3 of those teams are now in the Sweet 16.
Right.
Kid on Arkansas, kid on Michigan, and kid on I forget the third one, but I
wouldn't even consider Arkansas.
Oh, I guess Arkansas is a double-digit seed, but you have Calipari.
Right, but you got Calipari there. Like,
and one of their guys came back late in the year. I mean, they got
Right.
healthy at the right time. So I just think it's interesting that like some of these smaller schools who had the talent, they just can't afford to keep it anymore.
Right. I mean, that's definitely a valid point. Like, you could argue that the NIL is shifting, shifting players. I mean, we see it in football.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, usually with the top quarterbacks, even like your starting quarterbacks, you can't even guarantee John M83.
Hey.
You can't even guarantee that your starting quarterback's going to stay with your program. Cam Ward was the starting quarterback at Wazoo before he transferred over to, the starting quarterback. He wasn't even the second or third string. He was the starting quarterback at Wazoo before he transferred over to Miami.
That's true.
Like, yeah, NIL is going to.
So I need to learn more about the NIL because it just seems to me like, is there caps on spending by these colleges, or is it just because in leagues where you have where the biggest programs can just spend the most money, they just are going to become the best schools, just like in baseball, basically. Like the Dodgers are willing to spend all crazy amount of money. They're just gonna be in the conversation of winning the World Series every single season because they can get Ohtani and they can get whoever else they want to get. Yeah, John's excited. Yeah, it's just the reality. They're willing to spend the money, and
no, there isn't any cap.
Yeah, so in college, like if you're able to do that, guess what? All the big schools are gonna start doing well. I don't know, and they're gonna get better and better. So.
I think that this continues Mike's point, though, that we're not seeing those Cinderella teams. We're not seeing Florida Atlantic.
No, I'm agreeing with him. Yeah, I think he's right. Yeah. I think there's something to say with that.
I mean, Arkansas is the only double-digit seed, and I wouldn't even consider Arkansas a double-digit seed just because of Calipari being there. I mean, his name alone is going to attract top-tier talent, let alone who knows how much money NIL-wise Arkansas is paying more than Kentucky. Who knows? I mean, you're bringing in, it's not like the guy retired and then came back to coaching. Like, he just was like, okay, I'm done with the Kentucky. Arkansas is offering me more. Like,
right.
Their board or boosters obviously got together and was like, this is what our plan is. This is how we're going to get it done.
Imagine with basketball, if you could just buy 2 players, like your whole program changes. I mean, think about. I mean, like I know Ben Simmons is like considered kind of washed or whatever in the NBA, but when he went to LSU, they did not have a team. Like they were not a good team. Like they were a terrible team, and they still won. They were still a winning record. I think they were like 10 games over 500 or whatever when he was there with them, and then he left and they were absolutely nobodies again in basketball. So it's like in a basketball team, if you have that one player that's just really good, think about Steph Curry with Davidson, right? Like,
yeah,
he took them to the Sweet 16 by just him, and that their team is nobody's after he leaves. So I don't know. So maybe that's an argument for smaller schools to be able to do well too, though. They can just, if they can afford 1 or 2 guys, they can make a big difference in their program. So
Yeah, but they
for
can't.
basketball
I don't
is.
think they can afford. I think what happened was those one or two guys were there on scholarships, and no one else scouted them out. No one else found them.
Right.
But now with today's NIL, they aren't staying there for 2 or 3 years. They are
Right.
gone because a bigger university is paying them more. So
Right.
I just wonder if it
Yeah.
makes it a little bit less competitive come this time, or if just the SEC is better than everyone. I kind of said that a while ago. It just means more. That's what the SEC says. I mean, 7 of 16 teams are in the Sweet 16, guys, and they are not like. I know they had some bad performances from Texas and Oklahoma, but the reality is even Oklahoma hung with UConn, and UConn hung with Florida, who's viewed as top team in the country. So
Right.
Yeah.
I just think they're top heavy. Auburn, yeah, I know they struggle a little bit. They're down at the half, but they came out in the second half and won. Tennessee, I mean, they're a tough out. Alabama, they're a tough out. I mean, it's not. They legitimately, you could legitimately have a Final Four with 3 teams, potentially even 4 SEC schools in it, and that is crazy to me. I mean, we could be watching the SEC tournament come next Monday.
Dang,
Nothing
that's great.
necessarily is crazy, overly crazy has gone on in this March Madness, other than John M83 has said absolutely nothing about this bracket or any of the March Madness games, and has claimed that like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. This fool's sitting in second place in our 25-man bracket, picking all the right picks. I'm like,
That's right.
oh,
And
okay.
who am I sitting behind?
Second chance. I don't know who's second chance. You guys are actually tied in first.
That's Natalie, just so you know.
Yeah, that was my point. My point was that's TeslaMase point.
Maybe anything can happen, guys. Maybe anything can happen.
That's right. I'm tied for first. Anything can happen.
Well, when I explained to Natalie that the lower seeded team is usually the better one, she created a second bracket called Second Chance, and that's where she started doing a little bit more of the favorites. So
yeah.
I mean, yes, congrats, John. I'm not taking anything away from you, but I do. I miss these Cinderella stories, right? Like I'm in a bunch of brackets where you have to pick a winner a day or a loser a day, and I'm like, never by week 2 are there still 50% of the pool still available. You know what I mean? Like usually this thing's eliminated. I mean, Maryland would have taken out 25 or 33% in one of them alone. So that just tells you it's getting to the point where it's like, man, do we just pick the number one? What's going to get hard is a lot of the pools I do are one-time use only. So Auburn, Florida, Duke are going to be there, right? Houston even. Now it's a matter of which one do I think can get past that one but lose the next game, right? That's the hardest part. But it's just different. Like I don't feel like the madness is there. We haven't even seen an overtime game yet that I'm aware of either. So that BYU game had a good ending. I don't agree with half of what happened. That elbow to the guy's nuts. Yes, it was unfortunate, but I do not think he deserved to be ejected.
No, not even close.
Yeah, I mean that was not, in my opinion, that was not fair.
He wasn't even looking in the direction of the guy. Like he was almost unaware the guy was there when you like watch the slowdowns. Like, how is this an intentional flagrant 2 ejection?
He was just trying to protect the ball while exposing the other one.
It's like a standard. You get a rebound, you stick your elbows out. You know what I mean? Like that's what you're taught to do.
Some people do it with their knee when they do fadeaways too. Same thing.
I have a circle, a space. You don't enter my space, guys. I got bony knees and elbows.
You got a 6'4" guy guarded by a 5'10" guy, and still needs more space because he's worried about him blocking him.
You guys are too much. Let's go through the remaining picks, and then I want to hear who you guys think is going to win it. Going to win these next matchups, because we've already done brackets. Let's go to the current matchups. Auburn, Michigan. Who you guys taking?
I'm going to go first. Then I'll take Auburn. I think they've been playing better than. It's kind of weird. They go in as the number 1 seed, but people saw them as the weakest number 1 seed. I think the most likely to lose early on or get an upset against them. But they've pretty much shown that they're dominant. They're dominating the teams they're playing. In my opinion, and I think they beat Michigan.
Mike,
The reason that I think a lot of people were down on them is because they lost 3 of their last 4. But what people don't understand is 2 of those games didn't matter. They'd already had the SEC locked up, and yeah, they lost to Bama at home, and you never want to do that. But and then in the tournament they lost, but to a very good Florida team. So Auburn's really good. I am a little worried. They had a couple guys get injured in that last game. Big Man got some cramps, and one of the other guys went down, and so that was they did have that backup point guard step up and play really, really well. Broom needs to do more. He wants to call himself the player of the year. Like he needs, in my opinion, he needs to do more. He's not. I don't know if they're not going to him or he seems disengaged, but they can't keep taking halves off. You know, for the second time in a row, they were down at halftime, or at least like it was a close game at halftime, and it just shouldn't be that way. Their talent is far better than their opponent, and Michigan has played a lot of basketball in the last couple of weeks, and so I think realistically Auburn should destroy them, but I really hope they do. But it comes down to Broom. He needs to play better.
John, who are you taking?
I got Auburn in that one.
I mean,
any
here's his stat line,
concern?
just so you know. Johnny Broom is 4 for 13 last game, 12 rebounds, so he's getting rebounds, but only 8 points. 0 for 2 free throws, 0 for 4 3-pointers. Like, stop shooting threes, get down in the post and body up. That's what you do. So, Michigan has a couple bigs, Wolf and the other guy, and so he's just got to go at him and get him in foul trouble. And I think if they do that, they'll be just fine.
So Broom's got to get a double-double from here on out, right?
What's that?
Broom's got to get a double-double from here on out, like in order to be that
8 points is not enough. I mean, you're potentially comparing yourself to Cooper Flagg, who put up 18, right? Like, and he's not even playing as many minutes, I don't think, because they're blowing people out. So Broom has to be that guy. And I'm telling you, I'm watching the games. I'm just like, he seems disengaged. Like he doesn't seem really into it at times. And he's up at the 3-point line and he's wide open, and for a reason. He went 0 for 4. Like, you know, if you can't make free throws, don't be shooting 3-pointers. Like, you know, so that being said, I think you know, Creighton played them well. They had a 7-footer, right? Michigan has 2 bigs, but they're more, I don't know that they're as big. I guess I should say, as Kai Brenner, who's on or what's his name from Creighton. Yeah, Kai Brenner. Yeah. He's tall, 7-footer. I mean, you know, so I think Broom just needs to go to work. But the reality is, I mean, they need to get everyone back and healthy, and this week off I think should really help. One of them came down on his hip. I think it was Kelly. Came down on his hip late in that game, and he tried to come back with like 3 minutes left in a fairly close game, and he went out there for a couple minutes and just called himself out. So if his hip isn't better, it's an issue, but I think he should be okay.
Let's go on with Duke, Arizona. I'll speak for Jack. He thinks Duke is going to win it. I'll also speak for TeslaMase. He thinks Arizona's going to win it.
Caleb Love, baby. Caleb Love.
Drew, John, who you guys taking? Duke, Arizona.
I think I have Duke on that one.
I just think they're better. Duke's going to win that one. I mean, I've seen Arizona play twice against BYU. Lost one of them. And I think Arizona's really good. Don't get me wrong. But I think Cooper Flagg's just the best player in the country, period. And he hasn't even had to, like, really assert himself as the dominant player on the team. And I think he can. I think he can even kick it up another level. So
fair enough.
I just don't think Arizona's gonna have enough to beat Duke.
Speaking of BYU,
you know they played already this year, right? Duke beat them, just so you know.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, back in November, but Duke beat them nonetheless.
Let's go. Speaking of BYU, let's go BYU at Alabama.
Listen, real quick, that Arizona game. If you want a team to put $10 on, $50 on at plus 400 odds, basically, that's your team right there. Like, if anyone can beat them, now's the time to get off that Duke bandwagon. And Cooper Flagg, to me, has not looked that good. I kind of disagree with that. His team looks really good. Like, they look stacked, and they have the size that worries me. But I think the guard play on Arizona between Bradley and Caleb Love is going to give them fits. But they need to play discipline, and Arizona doesn't do that. They almost blew the game last night. So versus
Oof.
Oregon.
Here we go. BYU, Alabama.
I'm taking BYU.
Yep.
Ooh, BYU.
No,
Tesla?
SEC. If there's one team that BYU runs into that they're gonna get outscored by, it's Bama. Bama has a #1 offense in the league. Nate Oates is a good coach. Bama went to the Elite Eight, I believe, last year. They do it again this year. SEC is gonna beat BYU. Not to say BYU is not a good team. I really like their coach, but yeah,
Nathan says BYU. Shout out Nathan.
Nathan will be a
Good
little
job,
upset.
Nathan.
It
Bro
should be a
also
great
says
game if you like.
Wait,
BYU.
hold up. Is Alabama
like
have a better?
offense.
I thought BYU had the best offense in the country, or the highest rated offense in the country.
No,
I have to look that one
Alabama
up.
does.
Alabama, huh?
Alabama averages like 90 points a game, I think.
I don't think I think if it's going to be turned into like a back and forth scoring match, I don't think that's great for Bama. I think that's better for BYU, and it gives them both a shot, I guess. I had to read up on the coach because like why are people talking about BYU's coach so much? So I didn't realize he was the assistant. No, he was the assistant for Phoenix Suns. And when he was there, they had the top rated offense in the NBA. And then he's kind of brought he's brought a lot of analytic guys and things to BYU to try to bring that NBA kind of style of thinking. And BYU scores what I thought they were scoring close to 90 points a game. I think you showed that stat. If they score more than 80 points, they're like 20-0 or something like that. So
That was before this game. So #1 scoring team in college basketball is Alabama, 91.18 points per game.
Wow.
That's throughout the entire season in a loaded SEC with Tennessee and Auburn, who are considered defensive programs.
You know who Alabama doesn't have, though?
What?
You know who Alabama doesn't have?
My cousin?
BYU's 81. Who?
They definitely don't have Nathan Riley cheering for Alabama, which is going to tip the scale in favor of BYU. Period. Let's go on to Michigan State, Ole Miss. Michigan State, Ole Miss. Who you guys got?
Saunders. He just forgot to drop the U, and that's my cousin right there. He's averaging 25 points a game, man. That's crazy.
Go ahead. Who you guys got? Michigan State, Ole Miss.
It's hard to go against Tom Izzo, but
it is hard to go with Tom Izzo, but he's playing Ole Miss. So who are you taking?
I mean, he's got lucky with who he's played so far. I'm gonna go SEC again. I'm gonna go Ole Miss.
Ooh, he's going double Ole Miss. Drew, John.
Listen, Chris Beard's a really good coach at Ole Miss.
I got Michigan State.
I'm gonna go Michigan State as well. I just the last few tournaments, for some reason I bet against Michigan State, and they always prove me wrong. So I'm gonna go the other way and pick them to win. So
Chris Beard has been at Texas, has been at Texas Tech. Like he is. There's a reason the SEC. Everyone says SEC, but they spent money on their coaches. Like they literally have amazing coach talent in that conference, and not that Tom Izzo isn't, right? Tom Izzo, don't get me wrong, is a very good coach.
I've heard of him before, Tom Izzo, right?
You have heard of him before.
Anyways.
Yeah. I just don't think beating a 10 seed New Mexico and a 15 seed Bryant is as impressive as Mississippi beating 2 lower seeds. Or 1 lower seed, I guess I should say.
Ole Miss.
But, yeah.
Yeah. It's a good point. It is a good point.
Fair enough. Let's go Florida, Maryland. Close game? I don't know. I still don't have any trust in Maryland, but who are you guys taking there? Florida, Maryland.
I'm going with Florida. I know it was a close game with UConn, but UConn has Dan Hurley. Like, I don't know. It's just a program. Wasn't that their first loss in
Dude, they went on a historic run.
14 games, yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Like, and it ended with a 2-point loss to potentially the best team in the country. So
good. They were up and they blew it. UConn blew that game. They really should have won that game. At least I heard, because my TV wasn't properly working. Thanks, YouTube. But
We're streaming on
but
YouTube, bro.
what?
The algorithms are
We're
gonna come after
streaming
us.
on YouTube, bro.
Somehow I canceled my YouTube TV without canceling my YouTube TV. So even though supposedly the customer canceled it.
Hey, let's hope that's a different
Listen,
department.
I think this game might be closer than you think with Maryland. They have a high octane offense as well. And Florida does as well. Florida wants to beat you, but I don't think they have the horses that Florida does. So I'm gonna take Florida to move on to the Elite Eight.
Anybody taking Maryland?
No.
Ooh,
Took Florida too.
Crickets. Here we go. Houston, Purdue.
Houston.
I got Houston as
I don't
well.
think it's going to
Mike,
be close.
Houston,
Yeah, I don't think that one's going to be close.
Purdue.
honest with you.
Here's the thing: Purdue can shoot the ball. So if they hit those threes like they were Braden Smith, they got a chance with anyone. But Houston's defense is just too good. So I think Houston, that Zaga game was the scary one for Houston. I think they have the easier path now.
Yeah, I think so too. I just don't. I don't know. Yeah, Purdue has got 10-point wins in each of the last 2 rounds, but I mean, you're talking about High Point and McNeese.
Yeah.
Who and who?
McNeese.
When I heard that High Point gives away free ice cream to their students, I'm like, are you serious? Really? Okay. That's the highlight of the school.
It's the high point of the school.
Hey.
Hey.
Let's go Kentucky, Tennessee. Probably the closest matchup, I believe. Yes, 2 and 3 seed Kentucky, Tennessee. Who are you guys taking?
I'm gonna wait till they say something.
Well, I'll pick Kentucky, and then Mike will tell me why I'm wrong. But I'll pick Kentucky because that was my choice from the beginning. So please, Mike, tell me why I'm wrong with picking
I will
Kentucky.
once Andrew's done.
All right. Well, I'm going to volunteer my guess right now, and I'm taking Tennessee. All right.
Do you know who the coach is? Do you know who the coach is at Kentucky, Andrew?
Who's that?
It's the BYU coach last year, Mark Pope. So he's actually a really good. He's actually a really good coach. So interesting about this. They've actually played each other twice this year. Kentucky has won both matchups.
That's great.
And Kentucky's getting healthy at the right time. Carr's playing well. But Tennessee's not going to lose this game. They're not going to lose this game. Rick Barnes is going to get it done. They have the depth. They have the experience on their team. I think Tennessee gets this done in a game. I think they play more defense than Kentucky. They can play offensively, but when it comes down to the end of the game and it slows down, it's definitely, I think, Kentucky's game. I'm sorry, Tennessee's game. I think Tennessee wins, personally.
All right.
I actually really like Tennessee to win.
Last matchup with the lowest seed, Arkansas. Texas Tech. Who are you taking? I'm rolling with Calipari, just FYI. I know Texas Tech is much higher seeded, has had a great season, but I'm rolling with Calipari and experience. Who are you guys taking?
Who's Texas Tech play if they win this game?
If they win this game, they play the winner of Maryland, Florida.
Yeah, see, I actually have Texas. I think I picked Texas Tech to win this game. They have the highest scoring offense they've had in the last 20 years. Usually they're a defensive school, but I do think Texas Tech wins this game.
I just think Arkansas has already had the hardest path.
They beat it, and they're healthy, right? And they got that. Yeah. They got that transfer from FAU, right? So they do. They're a good school, and they're getting healthy at the right time. I just think Texas Tech is just better. Been doing it longer.
Ooh.
We'll see.
John?
Taking Arkansas.
I'm taking Texas Tech too.
Ooh, we're split on it. All right. I'll take it. That's fine. I'll live with that.
I took mine just to be on the other side of Mike on that one. We can text during that game.
So it all comes down to that one game.
the one
any other surprises? Any other surprises? I mean, I know it's been not the most exciting March Madness, or at least year for it. Nothing really too exciting upset wise or Cinderella wise.
I mean, I'm surprised that I just picked a Big 12 school over SEC school, guys. So, you guys should be pretty surprised at that.
Shocking.
No,
Oh my
John L.
gosh.
Davis on Arkansas is a stud. So he's that FAU transfer. So, but I do think they're run-ins here. I think Texas Tech wins. I think this year you have the biggest difference that we've had in multiple years between our higher seeds. So I when I see the 1 and 2 seeds, I'm just like, the gap between 1 and 2 is not much, right? Like I don't think the gap between Auburn and Alabama or Auburn and Michigan State, like you could say, okay, we'll move Auburn down. Duke right now is playing like the best team out there, right? I mean, they haven't had the toughest opponents, but I don't think Baylor was that good. But the reality is Duke seems like, based on what you're seeing in the margins that they're winning by, they seem like hands down the favorite. But I don't know that the gap between Duke and, say, Michigan State or Tennessee or Alabama is that far. Like that's a game I want to watch. But the difference between those 2 seeds and the 3 seeds to me is astronomical. I don't see a world in which, these 1 and 2 seeds lose, to be honest with you, at this point. So I don't know. That's just my personal opinion on it. I feel like we're headed for a very chalky Elite Eight.
Yeah. I'd probably double down with that, Mike.
With the exception of Arizona beating Duke. Biggest, boldest pick. So I think it's the highest spread too. So remember, you heard it here first. Bear down. Caleb Love wins it.
Hey, you heard it here first. Not much going.
North Carolina. Wouldn't the ex-North Carolina player love to knock out Duke?
Yeah.
What does he say? BYU in 5. This guy. Really? You gonna bring the Lakers in 5? That's GMS, DMS, RMS, BYU in 5. They only play 1 game, but BYU in 5.
Oh, bro.
Oh my gosh, bro. Let's see. 2 biggest stories in the NFL this week. The Aaron Rodgers saga continues. I don't know if it's like a poor me saga, whatever this whole deal is with Aaron Rodgers, but he visited the Steelers. Kudos for making a visit.
Yeah. Did he finally go to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, he finally visited Pittsburgh.
Good for him.
That's all that happened.
What's there to do in Pittsburgh besides the Steelers? Like, what's going on over there, guys? Anyone been?
Well, I mean, honestly, his options are running out, right? Vikings said, we're just gonna roll with JJ McCarthy, and decided to like not even entertain, the whole Aaron Rodgers thing. Giants just went ahead and said, oh, hey, you know what? We're going to go sign Jameis Winston for a couple of years, which I love. Like the dude's like, he's comedy, right? That's your comedic relief right there in the locker room.
Yep.
Perfect. Whatever. You're going to go young. You want to stay with Dan. They don't even have DeVito. You want to stick with DeVito and have DeVito run it and use your top pick for a quarterback. Perfect. We got your veteran comic relief right here in-house. So they said they didn't want any part of the Aaron Rodgers saga in it either. So I mean, Aaron Rodgers' options are running really slim, which is wild. Only because, do you know where he ranked last year in passing yards for QBs in the NFL?
Probably last.
5th.
No, he was still ranked 8th.
Was he really?
Yeah, he was still in the top 10.
I was thinking
I
about.
Only had 1 game over 300 yards all season. That's crazy.
He probably had a better season than like Kirk Cousins and some other quarterbacks that we.
Yeah,
I know we got benched. I'm just saying, like at the beginning of the season, you would have thought, "Oh, Kirk Cousins got a big contract. Like he's gonna probably do well for the Falcons." But I mean, I didn't think that, but others, the Falcons obviously thought that. Aaron Rodgers wasn't amazing, but he wasn't like the worst quarterback out there.
I just don't think. I mean, his options are running low, and if he doesn't sign with the Steelers or doesn't take, some type of discount to sign with the Steelers, where does he go? He just ends up on the free agent market and becomes like Joe Flacco.
Right.
We'll sign you when somebody gets injured.
Yeah, I think he just retires. He should just retire.
You think so?
I think so.
I think he should. If I was him, I would take the Steelers job personally. I mean, you walk in with one of the best defenses in the NFL,
and DK Metcalf and what's his name?
And Pickens and Fryer.
I would just take that job. Period. Like, if that's actually a great fit for him, in my opinion, like that's your best opportunity to make some noise before you retire. But I agree.
You have to remember the pedigree of Pittsburgh is run the ball, right? And Aaron Rodgers wants control of the ball. So I do not think that's a good fit from a coaching standpoint. Longest tenured coach in the NFL is his coach, and Aaron Rodgers just gets his coaches fired. So I don't think it's a good fit.
Yeah, he definitely.
I guess it's an Aaron Rodgers problem then, not a Steelers.
Oh,
problem,
he created that problem hands down.
Yeah. Yes, it would be a good fit for most quarterbacks. I just don't think it's a good fit for him. Like, it's a good situation for him, but it's not a good fit, I guess, is what I would.
Yeah.
The way I would say it.
Fair enough. Fair enough. As far as the NBA goes, Drew, what's happening to your Lakers, man? I mean, I'll say our. I mean, I'm also a Laker fan, but what's going on? Losing 3 straight.
You got that Kobe and LeBron James jerseys in the back of your.
I said our.
Yeah.
Just make sure you realize that the Kobe jersey is in front of the LeBron jersey.
Exactly.
It's on top. Dude.
24 is greater than 23 in that situation for sure.
Hey, I just don't have enough room.
I asked you that question, Mike. Who's the player who eliminated the most 50-plus win teams in the NBA playoffs throughout their career?
That guy.
Kobe
that guy right there.
Kobe eliminated 25 teams throughout his career that were 50-plus wins in the playoffs.
Hold up. Kobe did, or Shaq did, and then Kobe got a couple more with Gasol afterwards. Let's not get this twisted, right?
More?
Kobe also had really good teams.
I'm sorry. If I made it to the finals, how many times in a row? 10 times in a row? You think you'd have more? You didn't. And it's obvious to show that you didn't face a lot of tough
Did you
games.
say there was a player who made it to the finals 10 straight times? That guy's got to be up there for the best all time.
Okay, wait.
But who was he facing? That's the thing.
I've gone back and forth with this. You said he's gone to 10 straight finals at a time. Before LeBron even lost the finals, did anybody even talk about how many finals you've been to in a row? Like, no other player.
Yeah.
Nobody talks to about
Wilt
Chamberlain, Bill Russell, and how many they've been to in a row. It wasn't until LeBron started losing those finals and like, oh, well, he made it to 10 straight. He made it to 8 straight. Nobody else is doing that. I'm like, when did we start giving out participation trophies? Congratulations. You participated in the finals.
About 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, like my kids got them on their soccer team 4 or 5 years ago. But no, the reality is it doesn't matter. Kobe wasn't even the best player on some of those teams that he was on. Like,
I'll agree with you.
LeBron was always the best player. Yes, he needed help, but LeBron was always the best player on his team in every single one of those finals. Kobe was not. Let's just call it what it is. Kobe was not until Shaq left. Right? Plain and simple. He didn't even win the MVP. So let's not. I'm just saying. I'm not saying Kobe. He did it the right way. He stayed with the organization. He didn't team up. I get it. I get all of that crap. I get it. But the reality is, LeBron was the best player on the best team, at least in one conference, for 10 straight years. Period.
I'll agree with you that he was the best player on the team, But the games that they won in the finals, he wasn't the best player in that game.
Did he win the Finals MVP in every Finals he's won?
Oh, he won.
Yes or
He
no?
won it off of
Did Kobe?
popularity.
Did Kobe? Yes or no?
If
I'm just
Kyrie,
wondering. That's it. I mean, Andrew knows. I just got him right there. He made a little face. I just want him to. I want him to.
Oh
to
wait,
say,
hold up! I didn't say you got me. That's a whole different discussion. What the heck? It doesn't matter though. The point is that it doesn't matter if you can get to the finals. It's about winning the whole thing. Like getting to the finals when you're playing against teams that won 44 games, like in the whole regular season. Like who cares?
Okay, let me ask you a question, and I need an answer here. Look, MJ is the GOAT. We all agree on that. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Baby goat, whatever you call a little baby goat, chivito, whatever you want to call it in English, is it not LeBron?
So this season was the first season that I was being convinced of that. Actually, this was the first season where
you Laker fans don't deserve LeBron. You guys all hated on him, and now you realize how important he actually is to you. I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you, little bro. But Kobe did cry a lot. I mean, he has that face. There's a meme of him crying. But I don't disagree with you. He cries a lot. His antics are terrible. What he does off the court, right? But he is the second best player ever to play the game of basketball. Period. For as long as he did, for how he's doing it.
I think the longevity argument is his best argument for that.
He is the second best player of all time. And it is 1B, the rest of the Kobe's not even top 5 in my opinion. But
so where do you end up ranking Steph?
Steph's not top 10 for me. I'm not the biggest believer in Steph. But
because how many times has Steph beaten LeBron in the playoffs?
Again, we're talking teams, right? Like you can't just say one. It's the situation. Like that's like saying Robert Horry is one of the best players of all time because he has
big shot Rob, baby.
Six championships. Like
7. He actually had 7.
Okay, what even worse? That's my point. Is like, yeah, like yes. At the end of the day, you want that, but the situation also has to be there, right? Like, I mean, we all know that.
I was gonna say that LeBron didn't have to.
Oscar.
Chivito.
He said Chivito. I'm hungry for burrito tacos.
I will say this though, like I was gonna say LeBron didn't have to face the Spurs, every year in the playoffs, Tim Duncan Spurs to get to the finals, like Kobe did, which is what I think makes Kobe and Shaq and all those runs. But I guess LeBron did lose with the Spurs in the finals and beat them once as well. So he did play them in the playoffs. Although that was when Tim Duncan was like pushing 40. I just think the level of talent in the Western Conference, that Portland team with Rasheed Wallace, all those guys,
Damon Stoudemire,
Sabonis, I think that the Western Conference was so strong, and getting to the finals 3 years in a row, and then they missed that, and then 4 out of 5 years essentially, Shaq and Kobe getting there was pretty insane. Against really, really talented teams. I mean, KG in the Timberwolves, that was probably one of the weaker years. Now, I guess you could argue, though, LeBron had to go against Detroit early on in his career, which was a really tough team to overcome. But after that, like in Boston,
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with what you're saying.
Yeah,
I am simply saying the second best player to play basketball on our planet is LeBron James. I mean, people argue that he's number 1. So how can you not say he's at least number 2? Period.
He's a LeBron soft in basketball. I'm going to disagree with you, bro.
I disagree with that, too. LeBron goes hard. I mean, like, if there's one guy I would not want to get...
Steph Curry's the one that's soft in basketball.
Yeah.
I actually think it's your Hall of Famer that's soft in basketball. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Oh, James Harden?
Oh, yeah. His little swipe through and how many years he took advantage of those...
You're telling me Kobe didn't swipe through?
Oh, not as much as Harden, man.
How many
gosh.
How many free throws did Kobe get with that swipe through? Do not lie.
No,
Kobe was the first person I've seen do the swipe through.
I'm talking he's dribbling. The guy pushes his arm across, and Harden goes up with the other arm, and then puts the other arm up like, oh, yeah, I was going up for a shot. No,
Okay, I
you
agree
were
with that.
not.
But Kobe was the first one to do a jump shot. See the defender with his arm out to do the swipe through and get free throws out of it.
Jason getting brownie points right now. Jason.
Yeah, there we go.
What's the reason? I don't see the reason. Jason says the
He
reason.
says because Jason said Kobe is number 2. Let's go.
I don't know. Like,
He
I
took
would,
his hat off.
Let's go.
There's
I
no
would take.
why.
I would take.
Like
I
how?
honestly would take
give
like
me a
Magic
reason.
Johnson.
Because his team,
I don't know.
his team
There's
beat
other
the most
players I would
50
take.
plus win teams. That's why he's
No.
number 2. Like what? Like why? How are we saying this? That he's got 5 championships where he wasn't the best player on half of them, on less than on 2 of them.
More
80-point
championships.
game, dude.
81
81 points.
game.
So if you got an 80-point game and you get more the championships than him, you're above Kobe. Got it. Okay. If that's your definition, that's your definition. That's fine. It's not an accurate one, but it's your definition. That's okay.
He thinks Kobe would beat LeBron in 1-on-1.
I agree with that too.
I would agree with that. Only because
Listen,
I do agree with that one.
I think if it's the end of the game, and I'm a Laker hater and a Kobe hater, I do not want LeBron taking a shot. I want Kobe. I'm not naive to how good Kobe is, right?
Right.
But he's not number 2. Like he's just not doing. I mean, when LeBron is still doing what he's doing, leading a Lakers squad at the age of, on the plus side of 40, and he's out, and all of a sudden the Lakers squad is not a 2 seed moving down to number 5. It says who he is, still is.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, the way he's playing this season, we could legitimately say the guy can play another 4 years, easy. You're talking about a 44 and dominate. Like, it's the decline is not that much. Now, again, he doesn't shoot a lot, right? Steph's another guy I think that'll be able to play a long time. Like the way he plays, right? He's not taking many hits. You need shooters. I don't know if he'll be able to get that separation in a few years, but the reality is LeBron is a beast, and he's been a beast. And not only that, like, he was expected to be a beast. So him coming into the league with people with the expectations he have, there's been no other player in the history of the league to have the expectation on your shoulder and to have to live up to it like LeBron has. And he has. Plain and simple. Number 2 all time.
Oh, he bringing up the All-Star game.
Oh, what?
Kobe did guard him like the length of the court, though. He did guard him like that.
Again, I don't disagree, Amy. The flopping is awful. The antics are awful. The complaining is awful. His political, whatever you want to say, it's all awful. But he is still number 2 all time. I'm talking about as a basketball player. He is number 2 of all time.
I liked his school he started over there in Ohio, though.
In Akron, cool. Yeah.
I
mean, I will agree with Tesla in that his longevity is just insane. Drew,
HGH can do a lot, but anyways, let's not go there, guys.
Well, he argued that well, he did play the Spurs, but Duncan was pushing 40, but nobody ever says that about LeBron. Well, he's pushing 40.
LeBron
right?
at 40,
he's like he's 40 and
he's the best 40 player, 40-year-old ever. He's the GOAT 40-year-old.
And
although
and
MJ played pretty well.
Weirdo.
Potentially, my boy Weirdo or girl, we don't know who you are. My LeBron probably could have got 80 in a game if he wanted to, and he was a little bit more a better egotistical superstar.
No way, LeBron.
You don't think so? I don't believe LeBron every time went to the cup.
No, he can't. He can't hit free throws with that frequency. Honestly, I don't think he. I don't think he could hit 80 points.
What's the highest? What's the highest amount of points LeBron scored?
That's a good question. My guess is like 60.
Ooh, I'll look it up right now. Go ahead, keep talking.
Career high points.
Tell me how many assists he had
61.
in that game, too. How many assists did he have in that game?
You know how many assists Kobe had in the 80-point game?
No, that's what I wanted you to compare him.
11.
Did he really?
Yeah, he had 11 assists that game.
Wow.
No
That's
way.
that's the first thing I looked up when he scored the 81 points. I'm like, what? He just ball hogged the entire time, and then I looked and I'm like, oh, he actually had like 11 assists.
I mean, he had the ball the entire second, third, and fourth quarters. He took the ball and said, "Okay."
Weirdo said they'll stay unknown. Fair enough.
Yeah, Mike. Just
We
so
appreciate
you
you,
know,
Weirdo.
Just so you know, Mike.
And all your weirdness.
Mike, just so you know, he had 2 assists that game. So
No.
I'm looking at it right here. Kobe Bryant, 28 for 46, 7 for 13 from 3-point line, 18 for 10 free throws, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, 3 turnovers, 81 points.
Oh, they really going off of that padding stats thing, huh?
So
They padded
yeah,
stats in the
I was gonna say
90s.
there's 0 chance he had 11 assists. That would be
John
another
Stockton's record was
minimum
real. They
20
padded
points.
stats in the 80s too.
Yeah,
it's because he ended up trolling.
Guys, is the NBA season so uninteresting this year that we're just arguing about LeBron and Kobe? Is that what's going on right now? I mean, there's some interesting NBA stories, right? I mean,
Anything that shocks you though?
LeBron had 5 assists in that 61-point game, just so you know.
Good job, LeBron. He ain't getting 80.
And took 13 less shots than Kobe.
Well, I mean, in LeBron's defense, like,
and played less
even
minutes.
if he wanted to, he still wouldn't make 80. Not because he's not a good scorer, but his mindset is
passer.
Yeah, he's more of a passer than Kobe will ever be. Right? Like
now,
that
to his demise, right? To I mean, even to a fault.
You know what though? It's a system too.
If you can get 80 points yourself, why pass?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like it's a lot of it has to do with the system too. Like, I'm sorry, but the triangle offense isn't designed for one player to average 10, 11, 12 assists a game. Period.
Yes,
like,
weirdo.
Nice.
Like, it's just not. And like, when Kobe played for Mike D'Antoni before his Achilles got torn, the guy was like putting up triple-double numbers like every game to try to get them wins because he was playing as the focal point of the Phoenix Suns style, run and gun offense where he was doing everything like James Harden with the ball in his hand. Like, I don't know, like that's why I like James Harden stats. I'm like, cool, but like the whole system you're playing in is designed for you to hold the ball the entire time and get a triple doubles, and that's how you win, right? Like, I don't know, like, great. LeBron does that. That's how LeBron plays. He holds the ball the entire time on every possession, and yeah, he gets assists. Good job. But like, I don't know. I'd rather.
Wait, but you like Luka, right? For some reason.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I've actually enjoyed LeBron this season more than I have in a long time because LeBron plays off the ball more. He does more, like, I don't know, like he's playing within this offense, and I'm like, dang, LeBron's amazing. That's why he's impressed me so much this season. The guy can the guy has like adjusted his game completely to fit in with Luka, to fit in with Anthony Davis being a focal point, and still look like the best player out there the entire game. Like, I don't know, like that's why I say this season LeBron's kind of making me believe that he really is the baby goat or whatever, or what do you want to say? Because he really is. He's like adjusting his game on the fly based on who's around him, fitting into JJ Redick's system, and still looking like the best player out there. I mean, I don't know. So that's why I'm trying to give some kudos to LeBron right now, because I've been impressed at 40 years old that he's still able to like make these adjustments. He's just a high IQ player. Like, so
I'm clipping that, by the way. That'll be in the intro.
Put that on the home screen.
Oh gosh. Don't make me look bad, guys.
Give me LeBron his kudos.
I mean, doubling down on the Cade Cunningham thing is making you look bad pretty much every time. So
yeah, you should probably take that out. Can we also Mike's video? He's asked for that to be removed too. So the whole Mike's video clip.
my internet.
Anybody edit videos?
It should totally be like a commercial.
You know what? You know what's funny is, so I've tried to talk up Detroit Pistons a little bit, get some clips. Man, nobody watches any video I do about Detroit Pistons. Like, I'm sorry, guys, but like nobody cares. Right. I get like 100 views on a little short about Detroit Pistons. Like I can do like a 3-second highlight of Luka, and I'll have like 15,000 views in like 2 hours. So like I don't know why. It's just like people just aren't searching to look up
But you
Detroit
were-
Pistons very much.
So it's
Weren't you
almost
banned?
like you're saying ratings improved when Luca went to the Lakers. Crazy that you say
100%.
that.
It's all a conspiracy, man. I'll join the conspiracy.
Hey, leagues
theorists
take care
on
of their
that.
stars, bro.
The
Leagues
owners.
take care of their stars.
Silver made a phone call. To like. This is not a joke. I mean, is Nico Harrison actually? I mean, he's pretty bad. Go through the history. We were talking about the history of his trades. I mean, like the Porzingis, like everything he's done as a GM, letting Porzingis go for who did he even trade for? Dinwiddie. He got Dinwiddie for Porzingis. Like, really? That was your best choice there? Like, that was shocking. And then he let Brunson walk for nothing. Then he traded Luka Doncic for a much older,
AD.
frequently injured AD. Who I love AD, one of my favorite players to watch. He's definitely one of the best bigs. But like, man, there's the only explanation for that Luka trade is that Adam Silver got all the owners together in a big meeting and said, "Guys, our ratings are tanking this season. We have to do something to make a difference." Mavericks, you're just gonna have to take one for the entire league right now. That's the only explanation of why that makes sense. It's the
And not only that, hey, this will make your attendance go down. Dallas will hate you. Then you can move to Vegas. I mean, it's it all comes together. It all makes sense.
That's the only thing that makes sense about that trade. There's no other explanation of. Don't talk about defense. Well, Luka's going to just stop. Like, nobody cares about Luka's defense. I'm sorry. It's
defense.
not.
Defense wins championships, but Luka gets you there.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally were 4 games
Fair
away.
enough.
So all of a sudden now it's a defensive mentality. Like, that's all BS.
Yeah.
Fair enough. For those still watching, subscribe to us on YouTube at JAMM Packed Podcast. Click on that notification button so you view us live. We are live every Monday night, 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We apologize for being late tonight. We were all driving home after having a great day. If you're interested in more of Uncle Drew's NBA views, make sure you hit him up on JAMM Packed Podcast NBA Ramble. Jamin M83 and I are going to be heading up that JAMM Packed cards. Oh,
Hey,
sweet. Hit us up on Whatnot at JAMM Packed. We'll be putting up a show here in a week. Next week, bro. Next week. Let's go. As always, from all of us at JAMM Packed, make sure you guys stay safe. Be kind to one another, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a good night, everyone.
See you guys.